Chapter 2 is a look at diversity or differences within organizations. Now, the reason we're studying this is to understand different groups, different nationalities, different ways of doing things. This is not just the skin deep stuff, which we get way too wrapped up in and focus way too much on. And quite honestly, I think we focus way too much on our differences rather than looking for, and should be the real goal in any organization, looking for areas of agreement and common ground and goal orientation. When we focus on differences, if you try that being married, it's going to be a tough row to hoe. If you focus on where agreement is, you're going to make progress. So differences have a wide variety of areas, from age, gender, nationality, customs, you name it, there's differences out there. Now, and ability is probably the biggest form of diversity really that we want to focus on is ability, skills. The more of those that we can bring into play that we need. This is like, you can never have, there's an old saying, you can never have too many tools. Theoretically you possibly could, but having the right tool for the right job makes it way easier. You can turn a nut with a pair of pliers. Yes, you can. Is that the best tool to turn a nut or to make it tighter or loosen it? It is not. You want something that actually fits. The right tool for the right job maximizes effort, or minimizes effort, maximizes returns. So when we look at diversity, it's just from the perspective of understanding, and deep level is just that. You can have a 30-year-old male, Chinese descent, that's got a master's degree. Okay. All from the same school. You can have 5 guys with that same description. There is no guarantee that they're all going to think and or perceive things the same way. Now, they may have a common experience because they grew up in the same area, but they just as easily could not. And there's infinite variety. The real payoff is focusing on diverse skills. Now, I understand that there are legal requirements within diversity and things like that, although some of those things are being weakened by law. And quite honestly, I personally applaud that, because I really want to get beyond that surface stuff and just consider people, the content of their character and their abilities. I don't want to care about how they look, where they're from. Can they contribute is my question. So, are there issues and legal issues within U.S. Companies and organizations? Absolutely, as there are in other countries. It behooves us to pay attention to those. Okay, so I'm not going to go through, there's a lot of detail in here. A great many things that are coming to the fore. This slide right here, for example, is at least in the last year, has become such a hot button issue as to not be believed. I do, like everybody else, I've got an opinion on this. It's really kind of immaterial in this context. But suffice it to say, you had better be aware of this and understand its more than surface implications to an organization and how it's going to behave. Now, another thing to understand is that diversity does not add ease of operations to an organization. It's just like getting married to somebody and I might have mentioned that before, that is completely different from you. Completely different. You're a Christian, they're an atheist. You're from the north, they're from the south. You speak English, they speak French as their native tongue. You grew up in the country, they grew up in the inner city. You're kind of asking for trouble, or you're asking for a difficult relationship, or it's going to take a lot of time to build a trusting relationship between two people that are just polar opposites. and that so that the more diversity you have, the more differences, and the more you focus on them, the harder it's going to be to forge a working relationship and a team. So please keep that in mind. Now, I understand there are social implications to this and political implications, probably a bit more accurately said, that we cannot ignore, especially for legal reasons. But make sure that you understand the ultimate goal, at least from my perspective, and that's diversity of skills. Do we have the right skill set in our toolbox, i.e. people, and are they being used to their utmost or employed to their utmost within the organization? Do we have the right people? So, with that said, read carefully and keep up the good work.